arguing, getting a reaction from people. Stop doing that. Stop trying to get me to say something so you can feel justified in saying something that harms my identity or my marginalization. And I notice people do this all the time, especially white people, white women, white queers, part of the queer community, where I would say something, right, criticizing like a problematic aspect of like bisexual people, because you know I'm bisexual and we got a lot of internalized biphobia in our community, where we have people that will say that they are bi and they like women, but they don't want to date women. And I've heard this from so many bi women who have said, I don't want to date women because I cannot see myself with a woman. I can only date cishet men. I mean, I'll fuck them, I'll kiss them at parties, I'll have threesomes with them, basically saying that they only use women for their pleasure with men. Like, you're using us as your proxy of getting off to men, and you get off to that. Like, you get off to the fact that you're using a woman to get some man just riled up or just turned on. And I feel that it's so dangerous. So I made a thread about that, and I said I don't understand why so many bi women say that they don't like pride because they don't feel welcome, and yet these are women who only date cishet men, who only kiss women or have threesomes with them when men are around, and they'll say that, or they'll say that they can never date a woman publicly. And then these are the women who didn't want to come to Pride and then wonder why people may be staring at them or staring at her man, her cishet man. And I'm not saying that every person that you come across is going to be cishet, but whether you are passing or not, it doesn't matter to people. It's just how it's going to be perceived. I mean, we all understand when we talk about white passing privilege and how it doesn't matter if you are black, or it doesn't matter if you are native or Filipino. That's not how people are seeing you, and that's not how people are going to treat you. So you need to understand that privilege, that yes, you are bi, yes, you are queer, but you are passing as someone that is heterosexual, or you are in a heterosexual passing relationship. And whether both of you are bi, that's valid, but you need to just recognize the privilege. And I feel like a lot of bi people do not want to recognize that privilege. Anytime we say something about how we have a lot of women that prey on recently out films and will basically talk to them and flirt with them, and everything is going well, and then all of a sudden, yeah, like my boyfriend and I were just thinking about finding someone, and that's how they get you, because they try to get you comfortable, and then a man kind of sneaks around and lurks behind and seeing if his girl roped the woman in. That's what a lot of bi women do. And I ain't gonna say that these are straight women. Some are straight, but I think some of them are just closeted women that will then use women to fulfill their cishet relationship and to fulfill their sexual fantasies with women, so they can have it both ways. They can publicly be with a cishet man and fuck women on the side. And if people don't want to include you in their movement that is completely against heteronormativity and just the constant push of heterosexuality down our throats, then they don't have a right to say, no, you can't join. But if they don't want to prioritize you, then that's really not anybody's fault but yourself, because you have made it clear that you are centering men, you are centering cishet men, and you want to make it about your attraction to these men, and you don't want to talk about like how a lot of bi women have been abused by cishet men, how a lot of them are stalked, how a lot of them are raped. You can easily talk about that, and you know, the intersections of being with a cishet man while still being bisexual and valid. But it's like you don't even want to talk about that. It's just about how, well, I don't like that people are upset that I'm attracted to men, which that's not why people are upset, baby. No one is upset. I mean, the few people who may be upset about that may have some type of problem. Maybe they jealous, or I don't know, but that's just so few of them that I don't really focus on them. But I made this thread explaining why, you know, what you hear a lot of bisexual women say is not really true. I mean, there's a couple of YouTube videos where there are lesbians that are also biphobic, and these are cis white women. I'm seeing just a lot of the entitlement from like cis white women or lighter skinned white women, women of color, lighter skinned white women, lighter skinned women of color that, you know, will kind of like treat each other like shit, and then everyone's like, oh, that's the entire lesbian community, that's the entire bisexual community, when no, these are a group of privileged as women that are basically trying to talk over other women that aren't as privileged as them. But anyway, like I was trying to explain was that I make a thread saying, you know, bi women have never really been excluded from Pride, especially when they created it in the first place. Like they collab with other people part of the LGBT, and it had nothing to do with the fact that they were bisexual. A lot of times it was because they were in heterosexual relationships or they were very heterosexist, and a lot of times they were not prioritized, and they turn into, oh, you're biphobic because you're not validating the fact that I'm dating a cishet man. And these women, you never hear women defend trans men as men. You never hear bi women defend the idea of dating other bi men, because a lot of bi women don't want to date bi men, and that's what I'm talking about. You want to say that you're excluding bisexual women and how we're all problematic and all this, but yet you exclude bi men, you exclude trans men, you exclude lesbians, you talk shit on lesbians, like your lesphobia is terrible. You say homophobic things like, oh, well, I don't think that bi men really like women, I think they are actually gay. See, I hear a lot of bi women say this, or I hear them say things like, well, I'm strictly dickly, because they think that only cishet men have dicks. So you want to ride on a cishet man's dick, okay, that's fine. You know, Old Town Horse, okay, or Old Town Road, or whatever you call it. That's fine. You know, I date men. You know, I don't like, I look like a hypocrite if I were to say don't ever date men. I mean, I don't care who you date. I'm saying don't prioritize cishet men and then claim that you're not welcoming bi spaces when we all know why it is. We all know that a lot of times it's your preference for men. It's the fact that you're very heterosexist or heterocentric, and you want to sit up here and say, well, every bi woman feels this way and every lesbian woman feels this way, and yet you're telling us you don't want to fuck with women because we high maintenance, it's too much drama, but you want to fuck us, okay? You want to like, or you want to fuck us sexually, but you don't want to fuck with us in a relationship. And I'm not here for that. I'm not here for you centering your bisexuality and centering other bisexual women around how men are attracted to you or how you want to pleasure a cishet man. Like, I'm not here for that. That's okay. Like, I'm up for new things. I'm not opposed to things, you know, if that's what you like. If you are polysexual, if you are polyromantic, if you want to date multiple people at the same time, be like Blueface and his girlfriends, which I don't really think those are his girlfriends, but whatever. That's cool with me. Like, polygamy has always been something part of indigenous and African cultures, and Asian cultures as well. So, I mean, I'm not against that, but just don't expect every bi woman to be monogamous. Don't expect them to want to date a man and a woman at the same time. Stop coming up to us, messaging me on Tinder, asking me to be your unicorn, or when I add you on my page. Don't sit up here and then ask me if I'm okay with a man involved, knowing the answer, and then getting in your feelings when I say no. Like, how you gonna get in your damn feelings because I say no, I don't want a damn man involved, and then you wanna call me biphobic because I fucking said that? No, I don't want a fucking man in a relationship with two women. I don't want to mix that, okay? I'm not a threesome type of person, and you wanna get upset about that, and then wanna say that, oh, you got gender dysphoria and I'm ruining it because I said that I don't want bi women to use me for sex, and I don't want a cishet man involved in sapphic spaces. And you want to sit there and say that I'm being biphobic and transphobic and and like, it's so manipulative because you know that's not true. You're just making these arguments, especially as a white woman or a lighter skinned woman of color or sapphic, that is trying to guilt this brown skinned black woman, this feminine black woman, because she don't want to deal with other films or bi women who use her for sex. And you want to try to get me to argue like I'm chilling, I'm cool, you know. You know, there's a little bit of something, you know, I can't really be saying because it's incriminating, but I'm chilling, okay? So you trying to get me upset. I'm just explaining to you, I'm being polite, and you want to sit there and say, okay, I'm done with this, and you want to block me because I'm promoting biphobic rhetoric when I'm explaining it to you. I'm explaining to you politely. I'm talking to you like this, and you're fucking light-skinned combative ass, or you're white passing, or you're like, I don't, because most of these people weren't black. These were like, either they were very light-skinned people of color, or they probably were mixed, and they probably identify as black, but a lot of times they don't identify as black, from what I noticed in these communities. Or a lot of them were mainly white sapphics, or very light-skinned sapphics, like very racially ambiguous, non-black passing sapphics, and trying to sit there and get me angry and saying, well, you know what, you know, how dare you, and you know, I'm done with this, and you are biphobic. I'm explaining to you calmly, and I'm not trying to get into an argument. Yeah, you trying to get a reaction, like you trying to get me upset so I can say something so you can feel justified and just harassing and going in on me, and that's not going to work. That's not going to work. This is 2019, like the second half of 2019, or for the rest of this year, this is not going to happen, okay? So, like I said, have a great day, whether you're a day away or 5 hours away. Stay blessed. Happy Sunday. I love y'all.